In a ruling that has shaken the foundations of British power, the Supreme Court has exposed a covert operation led by Keir Starmer, revealing a carefully orchestrated strategy to align the United Kingdom with European Union regulations, without public consultation or parliamentary oversight. This judicial decision is not merely a legal setback for the Labour leader, it has triggered a political firestorm of historic proportions. Starmer, who once pledged to honour the Brexit referendum result and govern with transparency, has now been caught attempting to bring Britain back under Brussels' influence through undisclosed agreements lacking any legislative mandate. The country's highest court made it unequivocally clear this attempt to fundamentally alter the UK's regulatory framework without full parliamentary approval constituted a serious breach of constitutional and democratic principles. The court condemned the misuse of executive authority to advance international commitments that would profoundly impact national sovereignty without open debate or scrutiny in the House of Commons. It was further revealed that key elements of the plan had already been quietly negotiated with EU officials, including draft agreements and regulatory alignments in areas such as environmental standards and food safety. All of this was carried out in secrecy, beyond the reach of public scrutiny and, more disturbingly, without any legal foundation. What Starmer attempted was not a minor administrative oversight, but a direct betrayal of public trust. Promoted as the level-headed alternative after years of political chaos, his reputation has been dismantled by a ruling that confirmed he acted outside the bounds of the law, attempting to enact a sweeping policy shift without the people's consent. The backlash was swift. Within the Labour Party, confusion quickly turned to outrage. Backbench MPs representing pro-Brexit constituencies felt blindsided, having never been informed of the true nature of the negotiations. Many had only been handed vague talking points about economic cooperation. The revelation that the leader they had defended was secretly working to reverse Brexit without even stating it openly ignited an internal crisis without precedent. From the halls of Westminster to the streets of British cities, public reaction has been visceral. Furious protesters demanded immediate elections and branded Starmer a traitor. Outside Parliament, crowds chanted for justice, declaring that democracy had been betrayed. The Supreme Court ruling left no room for interpretation. No agreement with foreign bodies can alter UK legislation without parliamentary oversight. Starmer's credibility, authority, and leadership began to unravel at a breathtaking pace. Constitutional experts have described the episode as a turning point. The judgment sets a definitive precedent on the limits of executive power, underlining that no leader, no matter how qualified, can govern without parliamentary accountability. The image Starmer worked so hard to cultivate as a guarantor of stability and legality now lies in ruins. Far from being the antidote to disorder, he has come to symbolize secrecy and manipulation. Internal pressure within Labour reached breaking point. Furious messages from MPs poured in as soon as the verdict was announced. Local party branches demanded urgent explanations, and constituency offices convened emergency meetings to assess the fallout. A wave of internal leaks exposed that Starmer's top advisers had deliberately downplayed references to Brussels talks, instructing MPs to frame the strategy as mere economic cooperation. Yet internal documents made it plain the true goal was to rewrite UK law to conform with EU directives. The fallout was immediate. MPs who had long defended Starmer's commitment to Brexit, particularly in traditional Labour strongholds that voted Leave, felt personally betrayed. One described his shock at realizing he had publicly defended a narrative designed to conceal a plan that contradicted everything the party had promised. Resignations soon followed. A shadow junior minister stepped down, stating she could no longer support actions that undermined the democratic will of the British people. Her resignation letter went viral across social media, condemning the party's double standards, preaching transparency while negotiating in secret. The letter sparked a growing internal movement demanding accountability. Moderates viewed the crisis as a chance to replace Starmer before the next general election, while the party's left seized the moment to renew their opposition to his centrist leadership. The fragile unity that had held the party together began to disintegrate. As pressure mounted, Starmer remained silent, offering no explanation or apology. Labour HQ declared an internal emergency, blocked press access, and suspended all media engagements. But the damage was done. National headlines were unrelenting. Starmer caught in secret EU plot, Supreme Court confirms Brexit betrayal. Labour leader broke the constitution. The public narrative turned decisively against him. Even voters who had previously given him the benefit of the doubt began withdrawing their support. Outrage was no longer confined to the electorate. From within the party, criticism mounted. Resignations piled up, and a growing number of MPs stated publicly that Starmer no longer had the legitimacy to lead. Polls reflected the collapse. Within days, Labour's lead plummeted, especially in Leave voting regions. Reform UK seized the opportunity, presenting itself as the only party still respecting the referendum result. The Conservatives, despite their own challenges, launched relentless attacks, accusing Starmer of plotting to reverse Brexit in secret and demanding a full inquiry into the leaked documents. In Parliament, the Prime Minister condemned him for betraying the people's will and declared that a leader with honour would resign. Internally, whispers of a no-confidence motion grew louder. Immediate suspension of all EU contact was demanded, along with a complete overhaul of Starmer's inner circle. The illusion of control was shattered. What had once been a disciplined electoral machine began fracturing into rival factions pointing fingers at each other. What initially appeared to be a technical breach soon revealed itself as a direct assault on British democracy. Leaked emails, internal memos, and meeting notes exposed detailed coordination between Starmer's office and high-ranking EU officials. This had been a long-running operation, months, possibly years in the making, aimed at establishing comprehensive regulatory convergence with Brussels without public debate. In key areas such as environmental policy, product safety, data protection, and judicial cooperation, the UK was being quietly steered back under EU alignment. The court ruled unequivocally that as leader of the opposition, Starmer had no legal authority to negotiate international legal frameworks on behalf of the UK government. By conducting these discussions without informing Parliament or the Prime Minister, he overstepped constitutional boundaries. The plan, according to the judgment, was a calculated subversion of democratic accountability that, if successful, would have fundamentally undermined Britain's legal autonomy. Many voters, including those who reluctantly returned to Labour post-Brexit, felt deceived. The narrative of Starmer as a responsible alternative to Conservative chaos collapsed under the weight of his clandestine involvement in a strategy to undo the referendum by legal sleight of hand. Even Remain-supporting commentators conceded the conduct was indefensible. If Starmer believed in realignment with the EU, he should have made his case openly, not hidden it behind closed doors. This revelation also dismantles the core of his public persona, the straight-talking lawyer, the serious reformer, the honest leader. Instead of cleansing the party, as he had promised, he presided over a covert political scheme designed to quietly reverse Brexit. No matter his legal credentials, his actions reflect a troubling disregard for constitutional norms. Now, as the nation watches, questions are multiplying. Who else was involved? How much did other shadow cabinet members know? Notes from Brussels meetings indicate that at least 2 senior Labour figures contributed to draft proposals and warned that public exposure of the plan could cause lasting electoral damage. But the plan has now been exposed, and the political consequences are unfolding rapidly. Within days, the crisis evolved from scandal to structural collapse. Party strategists are scrambling to hold on to key constituencies while MPs face mounting pressure from their own voters. Polls show a steep decline in Labour support, especially among older and working-class demographics. Reform UK is surging, and the Conservatives are stepping up their offensive. Starmer, weakened and increasingly isolated, remains at the centre of the storm. The Supreme Court verdict was a legal milestone, but what follows is a political reckoning. And with every passing hour, the message becomes clearer. Trust has been broken, and Starmer's legitimacy is no longer sustainable. We want to hear from you. Do you believe Keir Starmer still has the credibility to lead the Labour Party? Was this a betrayal of Brexit, or just a political miscalculation? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We read them all. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any updates as this story continues to unfold. See you in the next video.